Chapter 7. And what was our favorite member of the mouse community doing while the sound of the Mouse Council drum echoed through the walls of the castle? Well, reader, I must report that Furlough had not seen the worst of it. Despereaux sat with the princess and the king and listened to song after song, and at one point, gently, oh so gently, the pea picked up the mouse in her hand. She cupped him in her palm, and she scratched his oversized ears. "You have lovely ears," said the pea. "They are like small pieces of velvet." Despereaux thought he might faint with the pleasure of someone referring to his ears as small and lovely. He laid his tail against the pea's wrist to steady himself, and he felt the princess's pulse, the pounding of her heart. His own heart immediately took up rhythm with hers. "Papa," the pea said when the music was over, "I'm going to keep this mouse. We're going to be great friends." The king looked at Despereaux, cupped in his daughter's hand, and narrowed his eyes. "A mouse?" he muttered. "A rodent." "What?" said the pea. "Put it down," the king commanded. "No," said the pea, who was a person who was not at all used to being told what to do. "I mean, why should I?" "Because I told you to." "But why?" protested the pea. "Because it's a mouse." "I know. I'm the one who told you he was a mouse." "I wasn't thinking," said the king. "Thinking of what?" "Your mother, the queen." "My mother?" said Pea sadly. "Mice are rodents," said the king. He adjusted his crown. "They're related to rats. You know how we feel about rats. You know our dark history with rats." Ooh, the pea shuddered. "But Papa," she said, "he's not a rat. He's a mouse. There's a difference." Do you think there's a difference between a rat and a mouse?
Yeah.
"Royalty," the king said, "has many responsibilities, and one of them is not becoming personally involved with distant relatives of one's enemies. Now put him down, Pea." The princess put Despereaux down. "Good girl," said the king, and then he looked at Despereaux. "Scat!" Despereaux, however, did not scat. He sat up. He stared at the princess. The king stamped his foot. "Scat!" he shouted. "Papa," said the princess, "please don't be mean to him." And she began to weep. What does weep mean?
Cry.
Despereaux, seeing her tears, broke the last of the great ancient rules of mice. He spoke to a human. "Please," said Despereaux, "don't cry." He held out his handkerchief for the princess. The pea sniffed and leaned down close to him. "Do not speak to her," thundered the king. Despereaux dropped his handkerchief and backed around away from the king. "Rodents do not speak to princesses. We will not having this become a topsy-turvy, wrong-headed world. There are rules. Now scat, get lost, before my common sense returns and I have you killed." The king stamped his foot. Despereaux found it alarming to have such a big foot brought down with so much force and anger close to his own small head. He ran to the hole in the wall. But he turned before he entered it. He turned and shouted to the princess, "My name is Despereaux." "Despereaux?" she said. "I honor you," shouted Despereaux. "I honor you" was what the knight said to the fair maiden. It was in the story that Despereaux read every day in the book in the library. Despereaux had muttered the phrase often to himself, but he'd never said it before this evening when speaking to someone else. "Get out of here," shouted the king, stamping his foot harder and harder, so it seemed as if the whole castle, the whole world, were shaking. "Rodents know nothing of honor," the king said. Despereaux ran to the hole and looked out at the princess. She picked up his handkerchief, and she was looking at him, right directly in his soul. Despereaux, she said. He saw his name on her lips. I honor you, whispered Despereaux. I honor you. He put his paw over his heart. He bowed so low that his whiskers touched the floor. He was, alas, a mouse, deeply in love.